think we're ready to go. Okay, we'll start off. First off, welcome to, I think this might be a historic meeting. Our first Zoom city meeting, TGB meeting. So that's exciting technology during these crazy times. The first thing on the agenda we're going to talk about is Nick's Wild Ride with Nick Hoffman. Did everybody get a chance to look over the email and maybe watch some of the episodes and check out all of the information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that kind of wasn't in there when I spoke to Nick, he said that what they really want to do in McMinnville is bring the story of McMinnville to life and showcase the town, and they like finding interesting characters in the town. And though it's about hunting and fishing, for them it's about the story of the area, and I thought that was real nice. As you could see, the prices, the low end was $5,000 to $7,500, and the high end was $10,000. What makes it go to the high end is, my understanding of it, is depending on where they are, the lodging, the cost of meals. You see things like that. Well, we know that we've got it pretty low there. So I think that's going to determine a lot of the money, because he said the price depends on how long time they spent and what all they do, meaning where they have to stay and eat and things like that. So that kind of all winds into that. For me, the big punch that I saw from Nick was how many followers he gets monthly and how many social media impressions are made. Gosh, he's doing 1 million a month. 1.8 million visits per month. I mean, you guys can see it right there. It's a pretty impressive little show he's got going there, and he loves McMinnville. He came to the Nashville Songwriters Night. This is Natalie Murphy. This is her husband, the woman that played the Nashville Songwriters Night with the fiddle. That's how I got to meet him, and this came about. So what are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you have any questions that I could entertain? I will tell you, he also said he would do give us the rights, of course. He said the easy part is the rights to the where we can share it and do, and plug it and let that be a part of that, and that they would be excited to come down and maybe do a kickoff at the Park Theater, special screening and things like that. He's such a nice guy.
How long of a segment is it?
Now that I do not know. I'm sure that's in there in one of those. Did you happen to catch that, Mandy?
I didn't. How long it is, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I caught that either.
Seemed like some of those videos were a little over 20 minutes. That may be
okay.
Like
I'd say it's a 30-minute segment.
Right, with commercials. Yeah.
okay.
Could you hook him up with somebody for muskie fishing?
Yeah. I told him about the muskie. I told him about all that stuff. He's super excited about all that. But like he said the hunting and the fishing and all that, he knows he can do. He said what he's excited and to learn about is our town and the characters that make up the town and make it special. But he's certainly, it being the muskie capital of the world, certainly drew him in.
Yeah, and it wouldn't, if he were down here at the right time of year, I could probably get Chris Willen to take him out. Because Chris doesn't usually get here because muskie season doesn't really get started until like November, And then it goes, really, they stretch it when they go through May. But
okay. Well, it's I don't know that it's something we do this year. I mean, I would hope so. Get it in and get it done. But he wants to do it. He's excited about it. And for this price range, I think, my gosh, for that many impressions and how many households it hits, I just don't. This seems like a no-brainer to me.
And then you said that we would own the rights to the recording.
Well, you won't own the rights, but he said you get permission to use it in every angle, that we choose to use it to help promote and use, just like any other thing, that we've done.
Is there a limit on that? I mean, as far as
if there is, he
time
didn't
frame?
mention it. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Ben. If there is a limit, he didn't mention one. He said all of that is the super easy stuff to nail out because they're not real hardcore about that. They want you to be able to promote your town, and by us promoting our town, it promotes that show. So they're not going to be, I would think, very. He's pretty easygoing about that.
Okay.
But all of those
I
things
think
can
it's
be
a good
hammered
idea.
out. This is just to get you the details to see if it's something that you guys want to move forward with and get more info. This is just kind of, some groundwork to see if this is what we want to do, something we're interested in.
I'm interested in it. I think it'd be a good
Okay.
thing to do.
I think it hits the at least the demographic of that outdoorsman.
Yeah.
Definitely a crowd we've
Mhm.
talked about we want to reach. It seems this show is getting a little bit higher average age than we've been aiming at, but I think it's still meaningful if we can get reach into that community in any kind of angle, even if it is a little older.
Yeah, and I love, the awards that it's won. I mean, it's a good show. It's highly respected and regarded, so I really like that about it.
So it looks like it's on Outdoor Channel. It's on their website, outdoorchannel.com. I'm assuming on these things, it's also on Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV. Is that your understanding as well? It's on kind of all of these different streaming, whatever it may be, streaming, I guess.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I'm gathering. Yeah.
It says on here the episodes are 30 minutes long, so it's probably about 20 minutes of content.
Yeah, and look, it airs 4 errands a week, so yeah.
And how many times would our episode air? Do we have any idea?
I don't have a clue about that yet. Like I said, this was just kind of an overview to get an idea of what this can do for us and the price point. Then I wanted to bring it all to you guys.
Doing the math, and this is just a guess, but it's 10 original episodes per year, 52 weeks per year, 4 airings per week. So they would have to
run a few.
Huh?
Yeah. Looks to me like it would run a few times.
It might depend on how well that particular show does, when they start doing the reruns and determining.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Also, to Katie's point, this is a demographic maybe we haven't reached out to before with that age group of men.
I think it's a good thing to look at, go forward on, see if it's something that it seems like we'd have to go out for bid on it, and we could get something together to be able to do that and see if, and then it comes in, then we can do it straight out of the Tourism Development Board.
Would you need a bid if this is sort of a one-of-a-kind type thing? It's a one-off.
Yeah, I'm confused what you mean by there, Ben. If we're doing it through
Usually,
the tourism board.
anytime we spend money over $5,000, we still have to go out for bid, unless it's a professional service, unless there's some other exception that I don't know about.
Would this fall under a professional service as a TV show?
No, professional services are architects, attorneys, and engineering, and accounting.
But how would you bid this against other? Would you bid it?
Yeah.
I think you would say an outdoor show that airs, 10 episodes, 10 new episodes, that is an outdoor oriented show.
Right to specs around the show.
Yeah, that features McMinnville, prominently features McMinnville and what what McMinnville has to offer as it applies to sports and outdoors.
As long as it's out there and people can bid on it, then it should be okay, right?
Right.
Following compliance.
Right, and then from there you just go with what's the best, it's lowest and best bid. And so somebody could come in and say, oh, we could do it for $10. Well, that doesn't mean it's the best. You know, if we have to pay $3,000 or $5,000, you still can go with the best.
Can you guys still see me? My screen just went blank, so I don't know if it's on
No.
mine.
You're
Your screen's
frozen.
frozen.
Oh,
We
great.
can hear you though.
We can hear you though.
All right, okay,
It'll probably catch back up in a minute.
okay.
It looks awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for this going forward as far as the next step?
I wonder, so
Mandy?
it sounds like if they're in thinking about our timeline for May, it doesn't sound like that might be possible for this year, obviously. So maybe if we have some time, we could ask them more questions about the use that we get of the show once it's created. And any other questions that we have? I think that was the big question about what exactly do we get to work with afterwards, and just getting more clarity on that.
Well, hey, Everett and Nolan, is it 5,000 or 10,000 that we have to go out for bid on?
It's 10 is for departments.
Okay,
I'm
then we
pretty
should be under,
I don't
we
know.
should be under that same.
Yeah, if they're talking about a maximum of 10, I can't believe it'd be 10 for McMinnville, considering how low the rents or motels are and that kind of thing.
I think there's another exception for something that's considered a proprietary service or product. I don't know if this would fall under that or not. Just throwing that out there.
But if it's under 10, I think we can go ahead and do it.
Yeah. That
Pretty
should
I
sure
be
guess that's where I was confused. I
Right,
thought,
and it should be by these calculations, right, Christy?
yeah, he said worst case scenario was 10.
Okay.
Christy,
as long
when
as
you
we
talk
could-
to him, just make sure he understands that our budget can't exceed $10,000.
Okay. I'll do it. Okay,
So
so
then,
what
do you want to vote?
I'll make a motion that we seek out this partnership, Nick's Wild Ride, for an episode contract with him and pay up to $10,000 to do it.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion by Ben Newman and a second, I think, by Everett. Is that what I heard?
No, Chad.
No, right.
No,
Chad, I'm sorry.
I
by
can't
Chad.
do it.
Oh, I started. Yeah, that's right, Everett. No, I'm getting all discombobulated on this. I can't see anybody. So all of those in favor, or excuse me, any more questions?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Motion carries.
Actually,
Okay.
do we have to do, on voting, do we have to do all of these by roll call? On the
Monetary.
well, no, I think when the governor did the executive order,
Oh, mhm.
I think it would be a good idea for us to do a roll call vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Katie, can you see everybody? I can't see everybody. Katie, can
Yeah,
you call
okay.
for the vote?
So, Mayor Newman, what's your vote?
Yes.
Chad, what's your vote?
Yes.
Christy, what's your vote?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. I think there's only 4 of us, right? Yes.
Yes, I think so.
It passes, and I'll record our vote.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, on to the next item on our agenda, and that is the behind the scenes with Laurence Fishburne. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Mandy.
Mandy's still on
Mandy's
here?
Did we lose Mandy?
We lost Mandy.
She should be
making-
able to get back in.
Yeah.
She should be able to. Is that her? No, that's me. Hey. Well.
Nolan's on. Hi, Nolan.
Hi, Nolan. Hi, everybody. I really would kind of like to wait for Mandy because she's the one spearheading this. Unless Katie, you know.
Can somebody
yeah.
text her?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay.
I could text her.
She may not realize.
Well, her computer froze up. Her video froze.
Oh, so maybe she's restarting.
Yeah, she could call in. Probably it would be all right. I will
Yeah,
be
that's what I
momentarily
had.
back.
What do you need, sweetie?
She says she's working on getting back in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan, you said this is being taped right now.
Yes.
I've got to go. I've got a minor emergency here I've got to take care of. So I'll look at it later then.
All right.
Thanks, Everett.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Everett.
See you later.
How do you get back? How do you get into the recording?
I can send you a link to it through email.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
See everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's see.
I think we.
I've sent her a text and she's not responded. So, I mean.
Am I muted now?
Hey, there you are.
You're back.
I'm back. Sorry.
It's okay. We got to behind the scenes, and then we
Okay.
realized you were gone.
Right. I know. I'm sorry. I was I was trying, and I knew my laptop was just it wasn't looking good on this end. I was worried I wouldn't be able to hang on. Okay. So what would you like you want me to just kind of give an overview?
I'm throwing the ball to you, Mandy, for
All
the
right.
behind the scenes with Laurence Fishburne.
Okay, and so I guess Executive Haley was contacted by Anthony Davis, the senior producer of the show at PBS, and they had narrowed down 10 communities across the U.S. who they wanted to feature in one of these series. I don't know if you got to see one of the series. They feature all sorts of different topics. I did look at one that covered Hopewell, Virginia, and that city, and it was good. But anyway, they did a series of kind of interviews with me and Jimmy Haley. I know they talked to you, Christy, and to kind of get an idea of what McMinnville is like and what makes us special, and trying to understand if they had enough content for a really good story. And what came out of that is they ended up selecting us as the community out of those 10. And so that's why I wanted to go ahead and bring this to you guys. What this would be, these are short form documentaries on PBS. So these would air, PBS doesn't do commercials. So these would air as segments at the end of one show before another show comes on. And so it's about 5 minutes long. And it would feature our, some of the things we talked about were our tourism assets. We had talked about the Advanced Robotics Center. I've sent them a lot of our marketing collateral. But we talked about, various things such as our rivers, Smooth Rapids, Isha, Cumberland Caverns Live. And I think they were really interested in Cumberland Caverns Live. I wonder if that's not kind of where they picked up on us, maybe the coverage in Southwest Magazine, because he mentioned that. So that might have been how they had heard about McMinnville and how maybe we got on their radar. But basically, the focus of this documentary is to feature what's great about McMinnville as a place to live, work, and play. And so it goes a little bit beyond tourism. They do want to feature the Advanced Robotics Center and our school system and, all the advances that they've made to help with closing the skills gap. And so it's very comprehensive. in what they want to cover. And so, but it's still going to cover tourism assets as well.
How do they fit that in 3 to 5 minutes?
It's true. I'm not exactly sure, but they believe they can do it. So
Have we seen some of those? I mean, do they exist yet?
I have. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. There's in the materials that I'd sent, his email below. There's a few links, and you can actually log into the website. There's a password where you can log in and access more information. But in those links, it takes you to a section. There's a section on travel, and that's where you can find a lot of kind of these types of videos.
Oh. I'm going to mute myself and watch one.
Okay. And so, with this, it will air on in all 50 states on PBS for 1 year, unlimited broadcast. So the estimated reach is 60 million households.
Wow.
Yeah, because it goes out to the entire PBS affiliates.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's the prime time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's playing it, has to play it, that type of thing.
Right. Yes. And if you go into the demographics, I mean, it's educated, affluent people. I mean, we understand PBS viewers, from Bluegrass Underground. So it would be that same kind of viewership. Except it would be nationwide all the time. Sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking they seem, in looking at what they have, they seem to be the ones who dictate what the storyline is. We just need to be careful that, because it is a tourism initiative that we have to do.
Right.
And that's just going back to our, the things that we have to stick with are more of that tourism initiative.
Sure.
I mean, I think anything that we talk about in McMinnville can be tourism related as long as it gets people here, but we need to make sure that we stick with that.
Kind
The way to do that when we contract.
I also feel like ultimately one of the goals of our tourism development is, of course, economic development, but even also potentially recruiting new members of our community. And so while I agree with Ben, realizing these are tourism assets that are going after to be used for a resource that is more, has kind of a broader focus. I think ultimately this is a product that does achieve that particular goal of potentially being here, coming here as a tourist, but potentially retiring here or getting a home here in Rock Island or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, usually, people, want to visit a place like 3 to 5 times generally before they decide to move there. They might be thinking about moving there, but they want to visit it first. And so, looking at it, from that perspective too.
Let me just go over what our bylaws tourism means. And I think Katie probably hit it right on the head better than I did. Tourism means the planning and conducting of programs of information and publicity designed to attract tourists, visitors, and other interested persons from outside the area of the municipality, creating the authority, and also encouraging and coordinating the efforts of other public and private organizations or groups of citizens to publicize the facilities and attractions of the area. So that it does seem like if those are the things they're interested in, what you described would go right along with what our charter says too, or what our bylaws say.
Okay. Good. Does anyone have any other questions or concerns or?
What's the timeline on this project?
They start in 70. I mean, I know this year's strange, but they say like 70 to 80 days from when the contract is signed, and then completion 90 to 120 days. So, this year I think we'll probably see production delays. But and I asked him about that, and he said that they would work with us and to continue production whenever it's best for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want to see Cumberland Caverns filled with people. Otherwise, it's not much
Right.
of a segment. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
Look-
Yeah.
Looking at, I just watched a couple of them. I couldn't find any that were community specific
Mm-hmm.
yet. I mean, I'll look at that later. It looks like it's about a minute of him talking, setting up the segment, and about 4 minutes of video from the location.
Yeah.
They seem, the ones that are on the website, not the ones behind the firewall that, or the password that you mentioned. They seem pretty one story focused. Like
Mm-hmm.
the community ones may not be, because I haven't seen those, like I said, but the ones that are on here
Yeah.
on the website are fairly one story focused. Like,
Yeah. Well, like, so the one for Hopewell talked about the trial, kind of the history of Hopewell and how Hopewell came to be, because it had a different identity first, and it had burned, and then it was rebuilt, and so it kind of talked about all the history of Hopewell, and also incorporated kind of the people and the culture while they were telling that story.
I saw one about Vermont that was
Mm-hmm.
different stories about Vermont, but with the shared theme of economic development. So they were looking at different companies, and I can't remember how long, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, but it was able to tie together multiple stories around a theme that did feature different voices and different kind of elements of the story.
Yeah, yes, they did mention that they wanted to feature, up to like 7 or 8 people in the community, or they wanted to be able to interview them and to see if they wanted to feature them in the videos. So they're looking for people to feature and tell the story.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think one question I have is, and I know this has all been this kind of whole process of them finding us and being whittled down from 10 to 1, all of that's been kind of feels like a whirlwind, or it feels there's a lot to it. And I wondered, Mandy and Christy, from speaking to the team, what do you think it would be like to work with this crew? I mean, do you feel like, are they going to be a good partner to us, or what was your kind of feel just talking to the whoever did the interviews?
Yeah. I've only talked to Anthony. And he was, I mean, I didn't get any bad, feelings from it. He seemed to be genuinely interested in McMinnville and excited about the project. So
yeah, I got the same thing. It wasn't, I didn't get really much of a feel of anything, because it was questions. He was inquisitive and interested, so it was hard to get anything other than that from my conversation with Anthony. He was a nice man, and he did seem interested in our town, but he was asking about 40 questions.
Right.
So it wasn't a bad feel. It was,
right.
but it wasn't. I didn't get much of it. Did you, Mandy? Because he was really
I did.
So it's for his
for his crew. He had a team he was sending all this information to, a selection team.
He was digging in with research. So
yes, and also I did ask about production, because I was trying to figure out my timeline and how much I needed to be involved if we did this, and he said that generally their team, I might have to kind of set up, which is what I'm used to doing, is kind of setting up. Say they say what the agenda is. It sounds like they're wanting to do the storyline. So if they do it that way, then I would be setting up, everybody, making sure everybody knows when to expect them, make sure everybody's ready and on point here, kind of the local liaison, and then just make sure that they can stay in communication with each other. And so if, I told him if you had any problem getting in touch with anyone at any time to let me know, and I would work on my end. So, and he said, oh, that would be great. That would be perfect. He said, but we generally just handle that. So, I mean, it seemed like they're used to this, so it seemed like they're pretty
very
kind of tight ship. Right.
That's what I was from it.
When do they need a contract signed? What is their timeline for that?
Well, see, I don't know when exactly it came down the pipeline, but I just found out about it, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 2.5 maybe. And then I didn't get to meet with him until a couple of weeks ago. And so then we've been trying to figure out when we could meet. So it was really due about a week ago, but he's been pushing it back for us. So because they're trying to wrap up who's going to be on that season so that they can get production started for their production season, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I would assume their production season, I don't know when it starts, but at this moment, are they pushed back? I can't imagine they're producing.
He has not said that. He has not said that at this time, because we were trying to explain to him why we had to delay the meeting, that everything's basically shut down. And he just kind of seemed like, like it was fine where they are and they're just keeping on right now. So he didn't indicate that there were any delays at this point. I just expect that there would be.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what's the total cost of this? Was it 30?
So, well, it was 23.6 is for the production cost, and then up to 3,500 for travel and all of that, the hotels and the meals and all of that they would have to do. The production equipment is a lot to fly.
So with this, would we go through the Chamber of Commerce to pay for this?
If that's our joint venture, that would be an option.
Okay. And I was thinking about that. Make sure that we still maintain control over the contract. If we go through the chamber, then it would be a contract with the Chamber of Commerce and
the TDB.
Well, it would be the Chamber of Commerce that we would give the money to and direct them to use it. Yeah, so it would be PBS that they contract with.
Okay.
We just want them to make sure we keep that partnership so that we have some input into it if we do it that way.
Right. Yeah, I know. I wish Sarah had made her meeting. I'm sure she's busy.
And it's because PBS is a nonprofit, right? We're not sponsoring anything. This isn't the same in that regard. It's just because they're not.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. If we're contracting direct with PBS, then we don't have to go through the chamber at all, right? I mean, that's what we did when we did the Bluegrass Underground. We went straight with PBS.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But we're not.
I didn't realize this was contracting with PBS directly.
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier to deal with.
Okay.
Then we should be able to do that directly.
Okay.
So then I think it gets back to the question, I guess, so it says over $10,000, obviously. So is this, again, the proprietary exception that you found, Nolan?
This wouldn't be the proprietary exception. This would be just like when nonprofits ask us for money, and we provide them with money. We can give money to nonprofits because they're not a for-profit company. And we're directly, the city is directly authorized to do that without going out for bid.
Okay.
Does it have to go through the appropriations process?
Say that again.
I don't think so. I think.
Does it have to go through the appropriations process? The nonprofit appropriations process?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, I know before that that I've approached you guys about some marketing projects. I know that I can't remember if it was the rebranding or the video project, but I know that I approached the board about that to cover that cost because it was something that came along outside of the regular cycle, and it was approved by the board to do that.
Okay. So that was giving money to the chamber, Mandy? Is that what you're talking?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Would this be then different because we're not giving money to the chamber?
Well, it was just that the chamber was a nonprofit. And so, and this is a nonprofit as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right, this would be, I mean, we could, I don't think we have to go through any other process because the city can give money to nonprofits. And this is what we would be doing. Then we're also getting this, this work in return.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Whereas normally when we give to nonprofits, we don't really get, there's not really there's no return that we get back that we can quantify. We don't give them something and then they say, okay, here's a finished product that you get for what you gave us.
And this seems different. I mean, and this seems different than you do get something back from the chamber in the form of membership dues. Like you pay membership and you get benefits back. But this seems like a different ballgame than that. Is that right? That either even a further distinction.
I don't really think it matters. I mean, we can give money to the chamber because they're a nonprofit. We can give money to PBS because it's a nonprofit. And that's what, this is a nonprofit. I'm just saying but we're also getting something in return, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I guess you don't always have to get something in return from those donations because they're just, when it's to a nonprofit, it's just a donation, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So then are we going to take a vote on this? Is that what we need to do next?
I think we need a motion.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Do we need to? I'll entertain a motion.
Can I ask
So the max.
I
Go
know
ahead, Katie. Sorry.
Opportunity for discussion, but I just have one more question. And I feel my reservations only coming because it's such a big number. So can you just speak to how this looks against our budget? I don't have our budget in front of us, and I know we've set aside money for something like this, but could you just speak to the impact it would have on our budget?
Sure. Well, as far as this fiscal year's budget, we've only spent the Cumberland Caverns Live sponsorship, the audit fees.
We don't have anything else that we're intending. I'm thinking about your tactical plan.
Right. Sure. Yes. Yes. I don't foresee any. Well, because it's so up in the air right now, and with grants, I'm talking to people about grants right now, and there might be some delays on those applications. And so that's the only thing. I don't know that there'll be a lot more activity before the end of this fiscal year.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to make a motion for Mandy to pursue this project and confirm with PBS that we are a willing participant in Behind the Scenes with Laurence Fishburne.
Okay, we have a first.
Your motion is just to reach out and to pursue this, but not appropriate any money towards it yet?
No, I'm sorry. Let me revise that. I make a motion that that Mandy pursues this project and confirm with PBS that we are excited to be part of Behind the Scenes with Laurence Fishburne and I guess spend whatever production costs and meals and hotel costs up to $30,000 toward the project.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Do a roll call vote again.
Do roll call.
Okay, Katie.
Okay, Christy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Chad, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Newman, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So it passes unanimously.
All right. Okay, so
All right.
onward with that. I think then.
Okay. Yes,
Does anybody have
Yes.
anything else, please? Well, we can't talk about anything else.
we can't because yeah.
We can't vote on. We can't vote on or take action on anything else, but we can, if anybody has anything to discuss or just bring up.
Well,
any-
okay. I will say, in light of everything that's happened, I was looking at the budget for next year. I mean, I've talked to Keval, and I'm looking at. I'll probably put this on the agenda for the next meeting, but I'm going to go ahead and propose that we cut the budget by 30% for this next year. We just approved it, but now that this has happened, we know that lodging is going to be less. And so I've made some adjustments on the budget and for us to review for next time, because I just want to be mindful of that and make sure we're paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Well, I know we can't vote on this, but I'll bring it up. We are looking at moving Lord of the Flies outside in the spring. I mean, summer, probably at this point, for a variety of reasons. Number one being that I think it's going to be more comfortable for people to gather outside first before it's going to be comfortable for people to gather inside.
Yeah.
Currently, we'll probably do it at our location. We have 7 acres. That's something we plan to do in the long run anyway. But I have considered thinking about doing it downtown. If we were to get to that point, I don't know what like the rental for the whatever we call that green space is.
The downtown
Oh,
lot.
the green lot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we can't, but at some point I may ask if this board would be interested in partnering to do that or something.
Would you want to do it there, or would you want to do it at Pepper Branch?
Oh, well, Pepper Branch might even be better.
That's because there's a natural slope there. And
Yeah.
That might be nice.
Yeah, that might be an even better thing. And I think we'll probably do it at our location just because of moving stuff and storage in between, because we'll probably do 2 weekends, storage and that kind of thing. But it is something I've thought about just because it wouldn't be a bad idea for the community to have something, that kind of event as well.
I think
And there's there's a lot more space. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So just keep that in the back of your mind, because that's a June, July thing at the earliest. I just don't think we're going to be able to congregate in any size before June or July at this point. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for bringing that up. And let us know which one you would be more interested in. I just think that Pepper Branch is, it's great. Have an awesome background with the water back there, and it's kind of outside Lord of the Flies.
Well, it actually makes more sense for lighting. I was very concerned about lighting, trying to do it downtown, because there's going to be very little control of all of the ambient, the street lighting and that kind of thing. But there would be a little bit more at Pepper Branch. It's not quite as bright.
And that we do have bathrooms down there now.
And that would be also
so that would be
probably
great.
critical.
It seems like too that the park, there's whatever parking is there, there's opportunity to find some other places for parking as well in the park if we need to.
We got a stage too.
Yeah. I'll mention that to the board as something we should consider when we get to that point. No, we're not really there yet because we haven't 100% decided to do it outside. But I think it's likely just because of crowd issues. I mean, I think it's going to be hard to get people to go inside in a big crowd before it's. I think it'll be easier to ease people back into going into crowds in an outdoor venue.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Well, thank you for that, Chad.
Yes.
Does anybody have anything else that they would like to discuss? All right. Well, with seeing no more things to go over, I guess this brings to a conclusion our very first Zoom Tourism Development Board meeting. Thank you all so much.
I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Sorry about my technical difficulty.
Mine too. Anyway, listen, you guys stay safe and stay home.
Yes.
Stay healthy, everyone.
All right,
That's
bye.
it.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How do we turn